Manhattan Neighborhood Network, in partnership with the New York Amsterdam News and the League of Women Voters of New York State, presents Race to Represent, an MNN election initiative. Hello, I'm Elinor Tatum. New Yorkers will be voting in the general election on Tuesday, November 6th. They will cast their ballots for offices including governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, controller, state legislature, and state assembly. Today, we bring you an interview with one of the candidates running for New York State Assembly in District 72. The winner will take office in January 2019. The New York State Assembly works alongside the state Senate and the governor to create laws and establish a state budget. The 72nd District represents approximately 130,000 residents. It covers parts of the Bronx and northern Manhattan, including Inwood and Washington Heights. Joining us now is the Republican candidate, Ronny Goodman. Welcome. What three words would you use to describe yourself, and how will those words make you a better candidate on Election Day?
First, let me thank you for providing me this opportunity to come on your show. There's three words I would use: pragmatic, human, and effective.
And how do those make you a better choice on Election Day?
I think because I have a vision for the 72nd Assembly District. And let me just preface that by saying I'm a different type of Republican than many people are used to. I'm pragmatic in the sense that I come out of the school of thought of Robert F. Kennedy. And that is that while some men see things and say why, I too, like Kennedy, dream of things that never were and say why not. And let me give you an example of that.
But he was a Democrat.
He was a Democrat, okay? When it comes to being effective, it's not whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or any other name, okay? The bottom line in every community, they want results. They want results, okay? In a legislative body, remember, in a legislative body, you have to make some friends and influence people to vote your way. So it's a give and take. It's not a Superman thing that I, as a single individual, be it the Assembly, the Senate, or Congress, can go in there as a single individual and get things done. It's cooperation, and that means working with everyone. Right now, we're at a time in government where every day it's like a soap opera, almost never ending. And as a result, nothing is getting done. In the 72nd Assembly District, what I look at is the underemployment and lack of employment.
You know, you liken yourself to Kennedy. Have you ever held public office?
No, not at all.
As a public official, you would be part of building the $168 billion New York State budget. What issue in your district do you think needs to get more funding?
I think job creation is the major issue in the area where I'm at: Washington Heights, Marble Hill, Inwood. Underemployment, not just for younger adults, but those persons that have families, that are in their 40s and their 50s. Meaningful employment, because in many instances, when people are underemployed, then that means they have to go get a second job or a part-time job. That's less time that they're spending with their families. That's less time to be a mother, less time to be a dad.
And what experience do you have with managing budgets this large?
I have no experience in managing the budget. I'm a quick learner, and as part of the process, because again, it is a legislative body that is done by the majority, so I think there's my will to learn. And I mean, I have done, when I worked some years ago for two Bronx Borough presidents, and at that time when they had and this goes back years, when they had the Board of Estimate of understanding the expense budget versus the capital budget.
And if you were elected, what committees would you like to join?
I'd have to really, I don't want to answer that off the top of my head. Certainly one of the committees that I'd want to join is the Economic Development Committee. That would be one. I would have to really give some thought to that, not just give an answer off the top of my head.
What kind of campaigning have you done around the district?
I've done really what you call retail politics, talking to people one-to-one. First and foremost, because people have a concern, because I am a Republican. That kind of sets people off. And I ask people to vote their interests. It's not about whether you have an R or a D. It's being effective.
And so what are you hearing from your possible constituents as to what their concerns are, and how would you address those concerns?
Their concerns have been, well, there is a drug problem, the drug selling on the street, and the high rents, and particularly in the Inwood area now, the thing that just occurred, the rezoning. And they feel that the rents will be going up, developers will come in, rents will be going up to the extent that they won't be able to afford to live there. And it's an older population. While many are still working, they're an older population that they're not that far away from retirement.
Now, where do you stand on that rezoning plan?
I think that it turned out to be a sham, once again. And I would say I'm not for it, and I'll leave it right there.
What parts are a sham of the rezoning plan?
Well, again, like before, there was a crisis in our area where, and I don't want to cast aspersions, it's not for the betterment of the entire community. When the term community benefit, it never reaches the community, much like the Yankee Stadium project, okay? The community benefits agreement, okay? Who's the community? And oftentimes it's not reflective of the entire community. It's just a few people and the community overall.
Well, community benefits agreements are just individual agreements with buildings that are usually being built, but that has very little to do with the entire rezoning plan. What about the rezoning plan itself is a sham?
The rezoning plan itself, I think can lead to overcrowding, one. Number two, the rezoning plan also in the Inwood area, which has presently stable housing. So it's not that there's a shortage of housing there. And I'm not convinced that it really benefits the area.
What would you do to increase affordable housing in Inwood?
I think one of the things that needs to be done is the closing of loopholes that may be in the current rent laws. To really look at that. I think the other thing for new housing and there has been new housing that has gone up in that area. Some time ago, the 80-20 program would have been appropriate to help offset some of the rents, and the commercial taxpayers could help that to a small degree. The storefronts that are there, you had a McDonald's that went out, you had stores that pop up and they're there 60 days, maybe 6 months maximum. There's a turnover, and that is that by and large, some of those stores, there's the types of stores that there are. There's like, you're taking barber shops. There's a barber shop, in some instances, 2 on 1 block, so it's an oversaturation. Nail salons, an oversaturation. And so, no, they're not going to be around that long. I think that one of the things that can be done to perhaps assist that effort is getting and inviting stores in that are really going to be, example, if you take 207th Street, or Dyckman for that matter. Dyckman, you have the restaurants, but 207th Street, you don't have a real anchor store that's really a draw there of, kind of a higher quality that will attract people to come in to spend money.
What do you mean by a higher quality?
Well, goods.
Such as, give me an example.
Well, if you're talking about clothing, okay? Let's say you're talking about clothing, fashion, okay? No, many people who reside in that area do not shop there for those, the goods that they have. They still continue to go downtown or other areas in Manhattan.
Okay, now you had mentioned the preferential loopholes and closing that loophole. How would you go about getting that loophole closed?
Again, I'm not trying to do it off the top of my head, okay? I think we have to look for it, okay? Good, solid answers, because maybe part of the problem may be is that we conceive these ideas without thinking it out fully. So I want to follow the process and actually think it out fully as to how we do it, where it's effective, okay? And we understand, and let me clarify that. I'm not saying landlords do not have a right to make money. If I own the building and if the market will bear it, yes, I want to make money. I think everyone has that right, and they should. That's why they're in business. But let's look at it in a compassionate manner where they can make money, but it's also affordable for the tenants. As I pointed out a little bit earlier, many of the tenants in the Inwood area, again, it's not what some would call an affluent area, but certainly stable. As you go east of Broadway, there is some variances in the income level as opposed to west of Broadway. East of Broadway, you have the Section 8 vouchers, or you have those residents who the employment that they have, those wages are not that high for them. And so it makes it difficult, for them.
Now, in New York City, 93% of the marijuana possession arrests in the first 3 months of this year involved Black and Hispanic people. What is your position on the legalization of marijuana and its impact on the judicial system?
Marijuana sells because there's a demand for it, plain and simple. What I look at is, as it now is going to become legal, I think that kind of sends a wrong message, and I'm not talking about marijuana for medicinal purposes, but where it's just, for recreational, I think sends the wrong message. In terms of the legalization, I haven't really made up my mind on that. I think it's a detriment overall because it's the sanctioning of people getting high. That's really what it is. Now, one could make the argument, well, people drink alcohol and, I just think that the effects of marijuana, particularly for younger people, sends the wrong message.
All right. How would you plan on supporting the needs of the growing number of senior citizens in the district?
Well, you have the programs like SCREE, and it's that perhaps need to be more, well, not so much more available to them, but to make them aware of those options. The problem, though, with that is that with many of the senior citizens, their grown kids live with them to help supplement, the parents' income. And in order for them to qualify, their income would have to be pretty low. I think it's something that I need to consider along with other legislators. And it's not an easy question to answer.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of other needs for seniors besides housing.
Medical care is a major one as they've gotten older. And while Medicare covers approximately 80% of the cost, they have to look toward or be able to be qualified to get Medicaid. And in some instances, they don't qualify for Medicaid, so they're stuck with a deductible that they cannot afford readily.
Now, what are some of the bills that you would want to sponsor if elected?
Well, the major bill would be the creation of an opportunity zone in northern Manhattan. And that's not done at a state level. That would have to be done in combination with the federal. And,
right, so that has nothing to do with you as
a legislator.
As a legislator. No. And then my last question, would you caucus with the Democrats?
Yeah, I caucus with Republicans, okay? I am a common sense Republican. I will work with anyone to bring the bacon home to the 72nd. Yes, I will. Okay,
right.
It's too much alienation as it is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Please remember to vote. The general election is Tuesday, November 6th. For more information on voting, locating your poll site, and all the candidates, you can visit our website, racetorepresent.com, or the League of Women Voters website, lwvny.org. Thank you for watching Race to Represent on Manhattan Neighborhood Network.